It's currently 7:39 p.m. Here's where I am currently with my current polystyrene drawing project at my mom's place. I primarily worked on it today during the mid to late morning hours while sitting at my established work area between the living room and the kitchen at my mom's place. After I got up for today around 6:30 in the morning. I'm nearly done with the project and should be able to finish it tomorrow, no problem. For this section of the inside mouth, I first used a fine point red-orange Sharpie marker, then a fine point end of a dual tip red Sharpie marker, and then the fine point end of a raspberry dual tip Sharpie marker in order to get that section to look like this. As after using the first two markers I used, I felt that section of the mouth insides was too light. During that mid to late morning period in which I primarily worked on this polystyrene drawing project today, I drew the tongue and colored in the mouth insides and did the eyelids and eyelashes for this side. And then I recently squeezed in maybe about half an hour to 45 minutes in which I worked on this polystyrene drawing project and did this after my dad picked me up from the Wegmans I work at after my shift and drove me back to my mom's place. And I finished editing yesterday's My Dinner video project in the UCut video editor on my phone. Within about 15 minutes of after I gave my dad a value size bag of original shrimp chips, and a small container of birthday cake Peeps. I got back to my mom's place around 6:15 p.m. as my shift at Wegmans today was from 12:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. When I got back to my mom's place, I briefly saw a female friend of my mom. My dad didn't recognize her car as he wasn't familiar with her at the time. Upon noticing me, she got out of her car and we had a brief conversation. That essentially consisted of her saying that it's been a while since she last saw me, and me saying that I haven't been out for karaoke much. And she said that's okay, as she'll see me at Wegmans. Though it's been months since that last happened. She went back in her car and then drove out of the driveway at my mom's place. As of 8:25 p.m., yesterday's my dinner video project that converted UCut video editor file finished uploading to my YouTube channel. About an hour and a half ago. I last naturally woke up today around 6 in the morning. I fully got up for today within about 25 minutes of that. I recall I first naturally woke up around 2:30 in the morning before falling back asleep within a few minutes. Around 11 in the morning, I had with a Premier Protein branded vanilla protein shake, 4 sunny side up eggs, and a ribeye steak. Upon getting up for today, I got an aluminum can watermelon flavored Celsius energy drink and would occasionally sip at it over the next hour and a half or so as I sat on my bed in my bedroom upstairs. and first reviewed the August 18 my dinner video on my YouTube channel to make sure everything was alright with the video and audio before deleting that converted UCut video project file along with the raw video clips I used to make it. Then I started editing yesterday's my dinner video project on my phone through the UCut video editor app. Around 8 in the morning, I went down to the living room and sat at my established work area and generally stayed there until my mom and I left her place so I could be driven to the Wegmans I work at. During the mid and late morning hours, I switched a few times between editing yesterday's my dinner video project and working on my current polystyrene drawing project at my mom's place. I spent roughly the first 2 hours of my shift restocking merchandise within the produce department. I primarily restocked the banana section at the very back of the produce department and the hard items section right in front of the banana section. In fact, I began my shift by restocking the banana section and then did so one more time later. By about an hour and a half or so. At one point, as I was restocking some 5-pound bags of yellow potatoes from a paper bag with some little holes full of 8 such bags, which are all plastic. An older male coworker with short, spikish black hair got my attention, telling me that he needed me for a minute. And he took me to the cafe part of the supermarket for my 1-year performance review. The two of us sat at one of the high little circle tables using two wooden chairs. He got out the performance review, which consisted of a few sheets of paper stapled together at the upper left corner. I recall we were there for roughly 20 minutes. He discussed with me what was on that performance review and gave me a blue ink pen with which I wrote down a few actions I could take to improve on the areas where I'm weak in, and every now and then I would discuss what he discussed with me. All in all, I think I did pretty good. The performance review said that I was a great asset to the Wegmans team. I'm strong in regards to customer service. I frequently offer assistance to passing customers, and whenever a passing customer gets my attention to request assistance, usually looking for either a specific product of the produce department or for the price of a specific product within the produce department, I always do my best to help them. I just need to work on continuously learning, essentially catching up on my computer-based trainings. And I should learn how to use the scanner tool for shrinking produce department products without a PLU code. And after taking my last 15-minute break each shift, I could also hose down my designated cart for that shift in order to make things easier for my coworkers. I took my first and only 15-minute break today around 5:30 p.m. After spending roughly 2 hours prior to that, completing roughly 4 or so of my computer-based trainings on a computer within a small computer room, within a general corridor of the employees only warehouse, near the section of the employees only warehouse for those who work in the produce department. I spent about 5 minutes or so figuring out how to turn the first computer I went on, only for it to tell me that it detected no display input, so I tried to boot it on a couple of times, only for it to ultimately go back to sleep mode. But I was then told by a female coworker that I could just use the computer to the right of me, as that one had already been on when I first entered that small computer room. But I initially decided to get on a new computer. I had earlier spent about 10 minutes going from that small computer room to that general corridor of the employees only warehouse where that small computer room was, to the produce department, and then finally to the accounting office, where I was given a pair of essentially wired earbuds, which worked perfectly fine for the computer-based trainings. It's just that at times it was a bit difficult to keep the earbuds in my ears, and I would have to either keep putting them back in whenever they fell out, one or both of them, usually just one though, or occasionally I would just hold them in place. At one point, during a safety compliance computer-based training, I decided to do my best to replicate each stretch I saw. It wasn't required for me to do that, but I decided to do that anyway within that small computer room. I was alone at the time. I decided to do that as a way to reinforce my learning. Same for replaying some of the video media throughout the computer-based trainings I did today. Most of those stretches were easy and straightforward, though I think with 2 of them, I'll need a little practice to get my form just right.